so far was definitely the highlight of the trip to Europe. Like I felt like the audience was really there and listening, which is something that so far is really known for. It's just like people are present and wanting to hear what these musicians have to say.
Hello, welcome to Stories from a Room, a So Far Sounds podcast where we explore the inspiring journeys of incredible artists we love and the stories that shape their music. I'm your host, Josh Savage, and today I'm joined by James Ghareeb, an independent musician who moved from Chicago to Los Angeles to chase his musical dreams. Blending elements of folk, rock, and pop, his sound weaves stories of love, longing, and self-discovery. Inspired by artists like Ben Howard and Dermot Kennedy, James has built a reputation for his authenticity, emotional depth, and amazing biceps. James, great to have you here. Good morning. We're speaking from opposite sides of the world right now. What time is it for you right now? It's like 5 p.m. for me. Tell me.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. It's 8:10 a.m. So early here in Los Angeles. Thank you for that lovely introduction. It made me giggle at the end.
Of course, of course. We had you at So Far Berlin a few months ago now, and it was a stunning performance, man, in this beautiful gym, actually, in Mitte, Berlin, and I think you opened the show. Even
Mhm.
I've been doing so many shows now, I lose track, and yeah, we were completely blown away.
Yeah, that was such an incredible time in Berlin, man. I can't wait to get back there. That gym was awesome. I wanted to work out there afterwards. It was so well put together. It was a beautiful area, and everyone there was so nice, and the show was so welcoming. That was one of my first shows playing abroad, and it was just welcomed by so many incredible people. So yeah, it was incredible.
That's right. So, were you playing so fars throughout Europe? What kind of shows were you playing, as well as So Far Sounds Berlin?
Yeah, there are more like smaller shows, little bar shows, and just kind of wherever would let me pick up my guitar and sing for them. So, so far was definitely the highlight of the trip to Europe. Um, I felt like the audience was really there and listening, which is something that so far is really known for. It's just like people are present and wanting to hear what these musicians have to say and these artists have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what I love at the shows where we fully respect the music, which is actually incredibly rare, actually. Were there other shows where you found it a lot more challenging?
Yeah, I mean, you're like pub shows where, you're kind of singing over people talking and enjoying their beers, which is a lovely thing, but it's different when you're trying to send a message out and, let people hear your poetry and your music and whatever it may be. It's just a you know, different crowd that you're performing to.
Yeah. So let's go to your early days. So you're from Chicago, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm from south of Chicago. It's about 3 hours away. It's Peoria, but then I lived in the city for a couple of years before moving to LA. So it really started out in Peoria, Illinois, which is south of Chicago.
However, you have roots in Lebanon, from what I recall, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I lived in Beirut for about 10 years. My entire family is out there. My entire bloodline is out there. So I'm 100% Lebanese and uh, live it every day. That's for sure.
How's your French?
It used to be really good. But nobody in America really speaks French, I find, especially around, my parts. But it's interesting because like the Lebanese culture, the Lebanese language, the dialects of Arabic that they speak are just so madly influenced by French. So half of our language is Arabic, the other half is French. So when we're saying a sentence, you're speaking like three different languages in one.
Yeah.
So I find myself, mixing in all these different languages when speaking with my family and people in Lebanon.
Bah vas-y, on fait l'interview en français alors.
Oh, Josh, that's a surprise.
I was raised in Paris, didn't you know?
I did not know that. Wow. Yeah,
so my
your French is a lot better than mine.
Well, thank you. Well, mine's super rusty. It's funny. I used to have a French accent when I spoke English, because I was my first 12 years was spent in Paris, even though I come from an English English parents. So now it's vice versa. But yeah, that's so cool. That's so
Wow.
cool that we can actually speak a bit of French as well. But for our listeners, I think they most likely appreciate English only.
The English.
Also, my French is like 12-year-old French as well, so I'm super super
If yours is
rusty.
12, then mine's definitely like a first grade level, maybe kindergarten.
So Chicago. So you wait. So you spent 10 years in Lebanon before Chicago.
Yeah. So I was born in Illinois, in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln's from. And then pretty much after birth, I moved to Beirut and spent time there for about 10 years. And then afterwards came back to Illinois and spent pretty much my entire like 15, 16, 17, 18 years living in Peoria and then moving to Chicago right afterwards. But most of the time was in Peoria, Illinois. It's a small metropolitan area. Um, Great city. Not really much going on there, to be honest, but it definitely helped me build my roots for the music that I'm making. Um, and I found myself in times where it's like there wasn't really much else to do other than hit the gym and play sad folk music, to be honest. And that was kind of my calling at the time. And from there, I moved to the city, a few hours away, and played a lot more shows. I mean, you go from like a country town in Peoria, Illinois, where there's not many people, and move to the city of Chicago, and it's a
Right.
whole different ballpark, whole different amount of musicians and things to do and people to see and places to go. And from there, we made the decision like, let's give this a full shot. Let's go to LA. That's where people chase their dreams at. And from there, we moved on and we've been out here for about 7 years now. It's crazy.
Wow. So
Yeah.
it sounds like you've got quite clearly a very diverse background. Do you think that shaped your music in some way as well and your creativity?
Yeah, I think so. I draw creativity and influences from people, scenarios, stories, and musicians. And from seeing the different kinds of musicians from my time, I've been super influenced by people. I think my biggest influence of all time is probably Ben Howard. And still till this day, like, I find myself turning on Every Kingdom a couple times a week and jamming out to that album that saved so many lives, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think one of my all-time favorite gigs is Ben Howard's. I caught on to him before he made it big, and he played in a small venue in Southampton in the south of England, called the Joiners, and it was about 200 capacity, and
Wow.
it was just incredible because this was just when he was like on his way up on the cusp,
Yeah.
and he was quite late to the show because he had to do a spontaneous big radio show, and he was just driving from London, and there was traffic and stuff. But it was so special because, of course, it was an intimate setting, a bit like a So Far Sound show,
Yeah.
and also you could see how much he appreciated just the response to his music, and that's when things were happening, so he was kind of in that euphoric moment. And compared to seeing him a few years later in like a much bigger venue to thousands of people, I kind of missed that a little bit, that intimacy and that humanity to it. Because yeah, when it's so big, it's like you kind of lose a little bit of something, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm sure you
yeah,
got to see that like super, super raw Ben Howard,
yeah.
where it's just him and a guitar and he's screaming into a
Oh my
microphone.
god.
And yeah, I mean, his music has changed dramatically over the last decade. But I saw an interview of his one time and it was like, as a musician, like you're pushing to grow always and test new things. And that really inspired me for my music career later on. Um, because he definitely, like, I mean, you saw his sound go from bare bone, like acoustic, and his really deep voice that he's able to like scream with, um, to this more like electric based sound. Um, but yeah, I'm sure that oh man, I would do anything to go to a show like that of his.
Yeah, yeah, same actually. We should try and get him back at SoFa, although he's
Oh
probably
my gosh, that'd be
way
incredible.
way out of our league these days. But that's honestly why I love so far. It's just like the acts you can find before they make it huge is incredible, and you could be one of them, James, one day.
Oh,
How
thanks,
um
man.
how important is moving to a big city? Do you think for an artist? Do you think it's essential? How has it helped you?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I think today you can make music anywhere, and we're seeing that, on the TikToks and people that are just making music everywhere, on the computer, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think moving to a city like Los Angeles, Chicago, Nashville, all these big cities that people talk about for music it's important, but it's not everything. I think it's important in the sense of you meet incredible people on the same journey as you, and you meet these connections, and those allow you and gives you the opportunity to do more things. Um, just from being in the scene in LA for the last 7 years, I've made incredible connections. People who want to help, um, whether it's someone like Lucas Flood, for example, who he does these writers' rounds at Hotel Cafe, which is a very, very beautiful venue in Los Angeles. It's one of, it's a legendary venue. You have John Mayer still plays there occasionally. It was the last place Mac Miller played, rest in peace. But they throw shows there, and I've had the opportunity to play Hotel Cafe numerous times. Um, to people around the area where I live in Venice, California, like, helping out and getting me booked at the Venice West, but you meet these musicians that all want the same thing, and you kind of build like a squad, right? And like you start booking shows with these people consistently. Like I have a really good friend named Manuel Grajeda who lives in Long Beach, and we played numerous shows together over the years. But then we started drawing in these people, like when we play shows together, and it's a consistent um, fan base that's developing. um, Besides that, you meet incredible producers in these um, recording studios. A lot of the recording has become remote now. Like my producers all are spread across the world. I have one in Australia that I work with pretty closely. He actually moved to London recently. His name's Matt, and then my current producers that I'm working almost full time with are in Boston, uh, Lucas and Jordan, and they are incredible, incredible beings that are helping me really develop this sound that I really want to go after.
So James, how does that work? How does that work? Tell us how you're working remotely with these producers and this team.
So last weekend, for example, we had a session on Saturday. We kind of set up like this, very similar. I'm in the studio downstairs. Um, I'm showing them ideas that I had wrote, and I plug it into the computer. They pick it up from their end. They start producing a little bit of it, and then we start doing vocals together. It's all in real time. It's live, so it's like we're sitting in the same room doing it, you know. Um, and it's been a tremendous help. And then recently we got together in person and knocked out a lot more of the songs. But it's a great place to start off, for like demos and such, and then you can send it back and forth. Yeah.
What about the latency?
Luckily we have some strong Wi-Fi here, which has been great. But I am
Wow.
recording on my own DAW. So like I have Logic that I'm recording through, so there's no latency from that end. And then when we send the files over, they're picking it up in real time, so they're able to pick it up and see exactly what's going on.
Because it's not exactly possible to jam, is it, in real time?
It's very difficult to jam in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is more for like recording purposes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, super cool. And it sounds like you've really been working on building your team around you right now. What does your team look like right now, and how important is that for independent artists like yourself?
Yeah, I think it's crucial to have people that one believe in you and that two want to see you succeed. Um, m- this new team that has really developed over the last year has been incredible. I've never felt more like at home with the team that I'm with. We have Jordan Boone, who's in Boston, and Lucas DeLacy, and those two are incredible producers that want to see me succeed. Um, and they like the music. It's really hard to find a producer that wants to make your kind of music that you're going after.
Right.
Um, and so found them, and somehow they live in Boston. My roommate actually was friends with one of them. He works with them, and then from there it kind of unfolded. So those two are incredible, incredible producers that are helping me tremendously. I also have Austin Bardowell, who's helping me on like the banjo side of things, especially for live performances. We have Patrick Dean, who's a phenomenal guitarist, and Judah Groverman, who's a celloist and a violinist and plays guitar. And um, with all these sounds and this expertise, I feel like I'm the lucky one, 100%. And I get to play with these people. I get to make a team with these people. Um, and then I have some friends like Alex Vespestead, who's incredible with a camera and incredible at shooting documentaries, and um, that's helping me build more of like the social aspect of things. And I think that's the hardest part about the current music journey is like the
Yeah,
socials
100%.
and the content. I'm sure you can
Oh my
relate.
God. Yeah, no,
I
bane of
I
my
just want
life.
to play music.
Unfortunately, that's not enough. Um, so tell me how, actually, yeah, tell me how you first got into music. Was it the guitar you picked up first? What inspired you to even write your first songs?
Yeah, it was guitar years and years and years ago. My buddy started playing guitar in like high school or it was middle school. I was like, I want to do that. I want to try something new. I picked it up and couldn't even tell you what tuning a guitar was at the time. And so ever since then, I started connecting with different musicians, and like hearing songs and being like, this is more my style, especially when people around you and, in your geography listen to like my area where I was growing up was like very hardcore country music. Everyone listened to country. I didn't really connect with it as much as I do today. Um, and so to have my own connection to certain music, I was like, this is kind of what I want to make. And I found it as an avenue, man, an avenue to, it's almost like a therapy for me. Um, and ever since then, I just, started writing and started writing poetry. And I was an awful, awful singer, Josh. I was so
I
bad
don't
at
believe you.
singing. Oh my God. I
Well,
like I
you're
need to
not
go back
anymore.
and delete. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Man, it was brutal. Going back and hearing some of the stuff I made, I was like, wow, I'm glad I started then.
Well, if anything, that shows that anyone can do it. I recall
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran was on a chat TV show, and he even shared one of his first ever recordings, his first singing recordings, when he was like a teenager, and it was absolutely disgusting. Uh,
Horrendous.
Absolutely disgusting. And it's like going to the gym. It's like you have to train your vocal cords and
Yeah,
develop those muscles to get that vocal control. And
right.
you need to just get your 10,000 hours basically, and so that you can have that in your arsenal to sing what you like.
Yeah, I
So
totally
how did
agree,
you train
man.
your voice?
It's funny. I started my first kind of like way into music before I was even like I would say like getting better at guitar. I started singing choruses for local rappers in my area. And so I would jump on these rap songs and I would sing their choruses. And that kind of like broke me out of my shell a little bit, gave me some confidence. And from there, I just spent numerous time just practicing. I remember, living in the house with my mom and dad and my brother and my sister, and it'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the basement just belting and everyone's sleeping. And my brother would like tweet me at like 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, hey, yeah, he would tweet me from his bedroom upstairs and he would be like, listen, I know you're loving music, but we're trying to sleep here. Please, for the love of God, stop.
But we're
Uh,
hating
but it's 3 a.m. for the love of God.
it.
Um, so those were fun times. But yeah, it's just like, you get addicted to it. You get addicted to writing good stuff. You get addicted to like seeing yourself progress. And almost like the gym again, Josh, like, you start seeing these like little bumps and people start liking it. And luckily at the time, Vine was around. And I
Mm.
started uploading so many things on Vine. And I had a little bit of success there. And just seeing that just like fired me up even more.
Oh, right. So what success did you have exactly, and how did you funnel that towards your music, and did you adopt that same strategy for TikTok, for example?
Yeah, I think Vine liked me a lot more than TikTok. TikTok is just a whole other ballpark. Um, yeah, Vine was so much fun back in there. It was like the first of our kind of like sharing videos like that. And
That's the first short form one, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, it was 6 seconds. And so I started doing these 6 second covers of songs. 6 seconds. I mean, you could have had 1,000 of them by now on this podcast. But I did some 6 second covers that got picked up by like these big Twitter accounts and they started reposting them. And before I knew it, I was getting hundreds of thousands of loops. That's what they called them back in the day. And then all of a sudden we hit the million and 5 million. And it
Wow.
was it was awesome. Yeah. And just that little bit of sharing back in the day went so far. I've tried to implement the same thing for our TikTok. Um, but it hasn't resonated the same way it did on Vine, which is totally fine. It's just I got to get better at my content. As a musician, I think that's part of the job now.
It's just finding that hook and that that formula per se.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We've discovered that for Instagram here in Berlin, and that's how we went viral on Instagram recently, where we understood that the hook, the first 2 seconds, are so important, and now our formula with our content at So Far Sounds Berlin is the hook is the pain point to your city, which is for us Berlin, and then how So Far solves that pain point with images of the shows that we do, and then a call to action such as like see you at the next show. So, for example, one that went viral and has almost got 1 million impressions was basically the club techno scene is not for you. How about these like cozy shows where you can get to know people and experience great music, and that's how we've sold out all our upcoming shows now actually, and it's been amazing because that's been great for us to kind of reinvest and provide more value at the shows we've got coming up as well.
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, so
Yeah, I need
next
a
time you're back, we probably will spice it up with something even bigger or something even more funky for you.
yeah, that's awesome, man. I would love to. I can't wait to go back to Europe, man. I just felt
So,
so at home there. Yeah.
well, I want to hear about more. I want to hear more details about this tour. Um, what was your instinct to go for LA, not Nashville, for example, which I would see you doing really well in because there's a lot more folkier country, of course. Nashville probably has the best songwriters in the entire world, I think,
Yeah.
for my,
Um,
my
one one of my
from my
best
view.
friends just moved out to Nashville last year, and he's a musician, um, John Vincent, and he is loving it there. But I chose Los Angeles because there was a producer that I was working with back in Peoria back in the time, and he had some great connections out here in Los Angeles, and that was our team, and that producer wanted to take me on, and he said, just move out to Los Angeles. And that was kind of my only option at the time. But looking back, like I do think that maybe Nashville would have been a better fit for my music, at least now. Um, but to be honest, man, like having the ocean, the mountains here, it's just like a game changer. It's like the West Coast living, that everybody talks about. So it's been an incredible journey, and I'm not, no regrets whatsoever.
Mate, right here, it's Berlin winter. It's -7 degrees Celsius. I don't even know what that is for you guys in Fahrenheit.
Too
Probably like
cold.
10, 20.
Oh man,
Um, yeah, I'm
that's too
very
cold.
envious.
Yeah.
Maybe next year I come to your side of the world for winter. Um,
Please, anytime, man. We'd love to have you here.
and so would you say it was a good call moving to LA? How has it shaped your music? And would you say it's offered you more opportunities as an artist to grow? And also, what are the challenges of being in LA as an artist?
Yeah, I think the challenge is mostly like the endless amounts of competition. But you can't really look at it like competition, you know? You have to see it like these people are on the same journey. There's enough room for everybody. But the accomplishments have been incredible. In the last couple years, I took I wouldn't say a break from my folk music, but I wanted to develop and try new things as far as sound. And so I created a band called After Kepler, and this band was dream pop is the genre of music it is. And it's very 1975-esque, and uh, yeah, and the songs were awesome. I had a saxophone player, I had incredible drummer, guitar, and like all these different instruments that were on stage with us, and we just got the people moving. And I wanted to try this because most of my songs are sad and they're emotional, and um, I wanted to see what it's like to maybe make people dance for once and maybe not cry. Um, and so I did it, and it was awesome. We had a lot of success, man. We played the Troubadour, which is a very, very well-known venue in Los Angeles, and some of my favorite artists have played there. I've gotten to see still to till today, getting to see some of my favorite artists play there. Um, I recently saw Medium build there, Lee Foleybeck, just incredible,
I
incredible
love
artists.
them.
Oh, so good, so good. Um, so that was awesome, man. Like we did really well, but I came to a point again when I was like, I'm not connecting with the music as much as I do with my folk music and my, the indie side of things. And so I decided to bring my focus back to what makes me happy, and it was this music, folk music.
Fantastic. I love that. And are you still planning to carry on this side project as well in the future, or was it just on the shelf for now?
I think it's on the shelf for now. I mean, if we get asked to play some shows, I'd be happy to play shows. I'm always trying to play shows, but I think for now, it's my focus is heavily on this folk music and the project that I'm working on currently.
Tell me about your first song you've ever written.
Oh man,
Do we get an exclusive tonight?
ooh, I'm trying to remember what that is. I met someone in high school. I don't even remember. I think his name's Kip. Um, this is so long ago, but he taught me like four chords on guitar, and then he was like, "Now go try and write a song." And I wrote a song. Couldn't even tell you what the lyrics were, but this was so so long ago. But one of the first songs I released was called Two Thirds Gone. It was just like an acoustic, same progression on guitar, same melody, same like rhythm, the whole entire song. And it was like my first taste of releasing a song. And back in the day, I just like released it on YouTube because that's what we had. Um, but that process is, it's kind of funny because it's like a very similar process as to what I do today. I sit in my room, I grab my guitar and try to make something come to life based off of my feelings or um, the current state of emotions that I'm in.
What is your writing process like? Do you tend to do the melody first or the lyrics?
It's usually the guitar first, yeah. I love playing in different tunings of guitars. I'm a big fan of like open C, open D. Um, Actually causes a lot of frustration with my bandmates because I'm not like theoretical whatsoever when it comes down to music. I have no idea what I'm playing. I just know what shapes my fingers need to be in. And so like my guitarist or my cellist would be like, "Hey, what key is this?" And I'm like, "I don't have a clue, but this is what it sounds like." But usually it starts off like that, got my guitar laid out, um, and start singing some melodies over it, and kind of develops it that way. And then this is where the brilliance of having these incredible producers alongside of me come into play, where like, hey, I just came up with this. I'd really love to develop this into something.
And you're fully independent, right?
Fully independent, man.
Why? Why do you choose to release independently these days?
I haven't really had the opportunity to sign with anybody, and I haven't really made the push to try to find someone to sign with either. Um, there's just, I'm sure you've heard there's been a lot of horror stories of people signing with people and then, you know, not getting what they think they're getting. And I've seen a lot of success with people just releasing independently, building your own brand, and then when the time is right, if it's right, uh, to sign with someone.
Do you think it's necessary to sign with a label to make your dreams come true in your music career?
I think you have to like really define what those dreams are. If your dream is to be on the road consistently and play music and make money, then it's possible that signing with a record label might help. But if your dream is to make music, touch people's souls, um, and still hit the road independently, it's very, very possible. I don't think anybody needs to sign with a record company in order to make their dreams feel fulfilled. Now, if you're trying to play like the Super Bowl, I think having a backing from the record label would help. But you've seen so many successful artists be independent and continue to be independent and make strides. I think if the music is there and um, the fan base is there, you can do anything you want.
And what is your dream with this music journey?
I think ideally, to be full time with music and just be on the road playing for people, being in Europe around the year, being in, South America, being in the Middle East, playing. If I could find a world where I'm traveling the entire world while just playing music, um, I don't care about the money. I really don't care about the fame. I don't care about any of that. As long as I'm healthy and my team is healthy and happy, and we get to play music on a weekly basis for people and then go out and have some fun, that's the dream. Um, back in the day, like I was so gung ho about, oh, I want to be famous, I want to do this, I want to have the fame. But the older I get, I'm like, I could care less about what people think about me. I just want to be able to hold my guitar and sing some music for people, and hopefully it helps someone. At the end of the day, if I'm helping one person, like my dream is accomplished in that sense. But being able to do it consistently and hitting the road and meeting new people and seeing what the world has to offer is the goal. That's the dream.
Well, sounds like you're already living your dream then.
Very close to it. I want to continue to do it. I want to continue to go out and meet people. I think the dream would be fulfilled once I can bring my team with me and be able to do it with them and make sure everyone's taken care of. And from a financial perspective, like um, whatever we're making on the shows to be able to like help my bandmates have a life. Um, and I think then that would be my dream. Like early stages Ben Howard, is like
Right.
when that.
Have you had people come up to you and say their songs have, how your songs have helped them?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had it a couple of times. One of the most significant times that still brings a tear to my eye today. Um, I was playing this song at a festival in Illinois, and it's called "Do It With Love." It's actually like when I was testing out different kinds of music, and it's a reggae song that I had written. And there was a butterfly that was like surrounding the stage when I was performing. And then after I got off stage, I had this family come up to me and tell me that they had recently lost their son, and that he would come back as a butterfly. And I was singing about doing everything you do with love and spreading love and compassion. And I had said a story about the song previous to like playing it, and then this butterfly came around, and so this family came up to me afterwards and was like, "My son was there while you were playing this song, and it really, really, helped change our perspective. It made us feel a little bit more comfortable here." And that was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment, man. And then I will never forget that day. I'll never forget that day. Um, because for one, like I felt like I actually helped someone, and that's like all I really care about doing.
I've got goosebumps just listening to that. And how do you overcome the uncertainty of being a music artist, not knowing what's around the corner, and how do you trust the process?
I think that's the process itself, man. It's just like you gotta just commit to it and keep doing it. And as long as you're happy making the music that you want to make, I think that's all that matters. Back in the day, like I was so heavily focused on like what will hit, what will hit, what's in the top 50, like what is good to do, what sounds good right now. And now I'm just like, I just want to make music that I like, and there's someone out there that hopefully likes it. And if not, I'm still happy because that's making me fulfilled. Um, so as long as artists can find that balance of making something they love and being able to put it out in the world and hopefully finding a fan that enjoys it. I think that is success, man. I think we have to change our perception of success.
So I would assume your latest singles, such as Me, Myself, and I, and Italy, are one of those that you released out of just because you truly love it. Can you tell me more about those songs and how has your music evolved over time? Because your first release was Do It With Love in 2017. Your latest one was Me, Myself, and I believe, yeah, around the time you played So Far Sounds Berlin for us,
Yeah.
September 6th. How has that evolved over time? And tell us more about these latest singles.
Yeah, these last two songs were with Jordan Boone and Lucas Delisle. They are definitely what I've wanted to make. And this folk, this banjo, like these different elements of music coming into play. Me, Myself, and I was the real recent release. It was about a time that, I was trying to figure what my goals are. I was going through a little bit of like a relationship crisis, which is always good fuel for a song. Um, and so that was kind of me figuring out myself during that portion. And Italy, I was really excited about because it had these elements of music that I really wanted to incorporate, and instruments that I really wanted to incorporate. And it was the first thing that was out there, and people really enjoyed it, which I was really happy about. But I do have a new song coming out tomorrow, actually, February 13th, called I'll Be There. And it's another one of these very raw emotion driven songs. And this one was recorded in a cabin in Big Bear, California, where I was able to bring all these elements live. And we sat there recording each one of them stripped, with the fireplace cracking and the snow coming down. And it finally came to life what I had pictured, for this song especially, and for the remainder of the songs that are going to be released from the cabin. And I am ecstatic about how this one came out because you could feel the rawness in the music with this song. Um, so yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm super, super thrilled to get this one out there.
That sounds very Bon Iver, actually.
It's very Bon Iver-esque, like being in a cabin somewhere, which is, man, if you haven't done it, I would go to it. Any artist needs to like go and just hide away for a little bit and just be with themselves and with the people that they love making music with, and just be like trapped inside of a house making music, and get cozy and have a fireplace. I mean, it just brought out all this emotion, man. Like some of us got teary-eyed when we were like writing and saying what we need to say. Um, and hopefully people feel that. Hopefully people feel the rawness when they hear the song.
Gosh, okay, I got to find myself a cabin. I'm stopping this podcast. I'm just gonna hide away
Yes.
for a bit.
Can I join, please?
For sure, that'd be great. We could make great
Yeah.
music there. I love that, man. I love how you really embrace that creative process. And how do you, especially in a fast-paced city like LA, how do you balance that alongside your creativity? How do you make sure you find time for writing? Because I think that's such a challenge today for artists when there's so many distractions from being in the big city, but also with our phones and stuff. How do you ensure you're still consistent with creating?
I think the part of it that is the hardest is the content, to be honest. Um, I work full time. I have a job because LA's expensive, and music doesn't provide enough at this moment to live fully off of it. Um, and I think once you have a passion and you know what that passion is, mine is music, you do anything to make sure you get, a touch or fulfillment from that passion every day. Um, Whether it is like sitting at the end of the night at like 9 or 10 p.m., just holding a guitar and strumming something out, to maybe writing some poetry that can turn into a song one day. Um, Consistency is key when it comes down to music, but also there's a difference between forcing it and just letting it out. And so always find the time to let it out rather than force a song. Because if you force a song, then you're just writing to write.
So how do you do that? You make it sound so easy.
Man, I try to spend time alone recently. Um, and when I have that time alone, I kind of get to sit with my thoughts a little bit more and my current circumstances. And from there, I develop some storylines and ideas. And I sit with my dog a lot and just kind of chat it
You
out with
have a
my
dog?
dog. She's
Wow,
sitting in my
so
lap
cool.
right now, man. Yeah. Um, but yeah, man, it's staying consistent, but also not forcing it. I don't think forcing it's ever good. I think I did hear Ed Sheeran say one time though, like songwriting is like a faucet, like a water faucet. I don't know if you ever heard him say that, but if you haven't turned on the faucet in a long time, it's going to be like splattery, until you keep pushing it out. I think that's true to a lot of elements, but depends what your goals are. Like for me, I just, I want to write stuff that I'm feeling and let those out.
Can you tell me about your first so far experience, how you ended up coming into this ecosystem?
Yeah, when I was living in Chicago, I had heard about So Far Sounds, and I thought I'd give it a shot and apply. And I got picked up for a few of the So Far Sounds there, and it was incredible. It was so good. I remember, I think the first one I played was like on top of a rooftop somewhere, overlooking the city, and there
Wow.
was a bunch of people, and I got to play, and it was that moment where I felt like, hey, people are here to listen to my music. Nobody has their phones out. And I was like, this is incredible. I want to do more of these. And so I've been able to just get in this network so far, and it's been incredible. I encourage every artist to try and apply for so far and find a city near them to really explore it, because it has been a game changer for me. And it's helped build a true fan base. You know, you these people that you meet here are like, wow, they like the song, they will stick with you throughout the process, which is really incredible. Which is different than playing like just a regular show somewhere. But since they're so invested into the music, it really helps. And then I got connected in Berlin, and it was so awesome. And I got to meet people like you. And um, I'd love to do like a full So Far Sounds tour, like across the country, Europe, whatever it is. That'd be so incredible.
Yeah, I definitely think that's something we need to build better infrastructure for artists. It's something I would like myself as an artist too. For artists looking to tour various sofas around the world, it's an amazing way to bring your music to new cities, to new markets where people don't know you. And I that benefited my music career too. But my top tip for artists today is well, that's how I discovered you for Berlin. You listed your dates that you were in Berlin, and then you came up as artists where you said you were available those dates. So that's perfect. But I don't think artists are aware of this tool yet. And I feel like that's something that could be communicated better from so far. But also Instagram DMs. I think that's the best way to reach out to SoFar teams, because of course, if you're accepted as an artist of the application, it's also easy to get lost in the noise, because there's so many SoFar cities now. It's 400 plus cities around the world, and so many artists, of course. So my top tip is don't be afraid to follow up. I think as artists we're clearly, well, we have a lot of self doubt and we don't want to be a nuisance, but actually the best way to get places is actually to keep showing up and actually be a little bit of a nuisance, in a respectful way, of course.
Yeah, I definitely went crazy on the outreach too. I was just DMing everybody, people that I saw work for so far, and kind of just try to find any way to get in front of people. But yeah, man, it would be incredible to like do like a whole run of So Far Sounds. Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully we get many more cities up and running as well. So many so far cities died in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, you know what? My top tip would be explore so far sounds in India. I did a little tour there, and there's so much great stuff happening in India. I was blown away. I was there just for my best friend's wedding, um, and had an amazing time there. And whilst I was in India, I played a few so far India shows, and they're like I was not expecting the response I got. I thought it was just going to be mostly Bollywood music, really, that they're into. But they're so into indie Western music right now, and the artists there were so good too. Yeah, don't sleep on India. I think for music, and also Ed Sheeran and all these massive acts are starting to collaborate with Bollywood artists right now. Um,
Wow. Do you feel as if there's a type of genre that's really popping off out there?
I couldn't say for sure. I didn't spend long enough, but I think indie music is
Yeah.
actually pretty hot there. I just felt when I first played my shows in Germany, I felt like I was amongst family, and I felt like I had a great reception from that. And that was the first time I felt that again when I did India recently. And I feel like the same
Mhm.
would be with you, James. Actually, I feel like your music would oh, people love you there. Just
Oh,
I mean, just having a sexy man there alone with your vocal cords. Yeah, mate, you'll have
thanks, man.
you have
You've given me
queues
more
of people.
compliments today than I've received all year, so thank you.
Happy to help. That's what I'm here for. Um,
Can I hire you on the side just for compliments? Just keep dropping
yeah, mate.
compliments left and right.
That's why I'm a good MC.
That's right. Yeah.
So tell me about your travels then. So wait, have you played So Far Sounds LA or just Chicago and Berlin so far?
Actually, I've never played So Far Sounds LA. Yeah.
Okay, let's change that. Let's change that.
Yeah. I would love to do that.
You had just released Me, Myself, and I, or were about to when you're traveling around Europe. What inspired you to do this Europe tour, and how did you even book it? How do independent self-booked artists even book tours?
Yeah. Um, I like to hit two international trips a year. Thailand was last year, and then Europe. Definitely going back to Thailand this year because it's one of my favorite places in the world. I wonder if there is so far in Thailand. I'm sure there is.
I think there
Um,
used to be, but it might have stopped recently
before the
or
pandemic. Yeah.
had a little pause.
Yeah. Um, and I knew I wanted to go to Europe. I haven't spent that much time in Europe, and I wanted to like go visit and like country hop and like just experience life out there. And while I was there, I was like, I need to try to play as much music as I can, meet people. Um, Back in the day, because of Vine, actually, I met this incredible human named Eamon on Facebook, and we started sharing music together, etc. And then he lived in Paris at the time, and he was like, "You should come out and visit me, and let's record an EP." And I was like, "Done!" Like incredible. Say less. Flew out to Paris. I recorded my first like extended, it was like 4 or 5 songs that I had released, called "Hanging from the Stars," and that was all recorded in France. And then from there, things started to move around a little bit. And so I knew I had to go back and see Eamon and play some music across the cities. And um, booking it was a little bit difficult because I definitely waited way too long to book. And so I was caught short, and I was just lots of outreach from like do it yourself tour on Facebook to um, creeping on everybody that's playing around Paris to messaging random artists that I saw played so far or I saw played um, a local venue, and reaching out to them and being like, "Hey, I'm looking for a spot to play. Do you recommend anything?" I mean, I had messaged hundreds of people, you know. Um, and I think this is back to that record label question. This is where they really could have helped with like maybe setting up like a tour manager. Um, I also found some like tour companies that help book European tours, but they had asked for a lot more time. Um, so note to self, if I'm planning on playing all the cities that I'm going to, definitely plan much further ahead and be ready for it. Um, but that's kind of how I went about it, man. And then luckily I got booked with So Far, and um, yeah, it was no regrets. Just maybe book quicker next time. Yeah.
What was your highlight of that trip?
Meeting you, Josh.
Ah, you're balancing out the
The
compliments
compliments.
now. I'm honored.
Honestly, man, it's just being able to share the music with people and just seeing different cultures the cultures are so different in every country in Europe. And so, um, being a guy that's like really, really fulfilled from international travel, Meeting people is everything to me, and just like experiencing these moments and getting to share my stories with these people and hearing their stories is just like the biggest accomplishment of the trip, to be honest.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for independent art independent artists today in 2025?
Um, Content for sure. I think like I've never seen it to where it's like you're playing music, but your music's only going to be heard if you have thousands of views and listens on TikTok and Instagram Reels. When truthfully, like most of the artists that I talk to are like, look, I just want to play music. I just want to write music and play music and play near stage. But the times have changed, and you're seeing all these artists, some incredible, well-deserved artists, pop off overnight off of their like first or second content video that they've posted and changing their life dramatically because of TikTok. And it's well-deserved because they're amazing artists. Um, but then you're seeing a lot of people that have been doing this for a very, very long time, um, not up to speed with the content world and social world, and they're still where they are. And every time I take like a TikTok video or Instagram reel, I'm like, this is the one, this is the one. And it's not the one. So I think that's the biggest challenge is like the consistent uploading of content and social media and trying new things to just really try to grasp any sort of fan base.
I watched a video recently which recommended that artists should be studying content creators, not musicians.
Mm. Meaning that they should watch everybody that's making content and try to.
Influencers, basically, and how they've done it instead of studying the music itself and musicians. It's so challenging because you have to do so much. A conversation I had with someone earlier on this podcast is I feel like, especially as an independent artist with a low budget, hiring a content creator is actually more important than a radio plugger these days. Because if you pop organically on your own terms, you can really leverage that for much bigger things. And it's also not so hit and miss because I mean, when you hire a radio plugger, for example, it just costs thousands, and they might just have no results and just say, sorry, the music wasn't good enough and it wasn't their fault, which for me just feels like such a huge lottery, an expensive lottery too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so true. That's really interesting. Yeah, I think the hardest part, man, is like actually wanting to make the content, right? And like editing it and then posting it. Like I don't want to, honestly, I just want to sit and write music at a cabin, and play it live somewhere, but not sit and like hold my phone, do the take 1,000 times, edit it, do all that and upload it. But this is what you have to do today. So maybe there's a world in which like the content creators can help us with that and formulate, making it easier for musicians. But yeah, man, I totally agree. Like it's a tough one.
So, James, what's next for you? So, you have a single coming out tomorrow, which by the time our listeners will hear this, it will already be out.
Yeah, it's
Um,
probably already out where you're at, honestly.
in 6 hours, potentially, yes. Uh,
Yeah,
and what's it called again?
it's called "I'll Be There."
I'll be there
Um,
in
yeah,
Berlin.
and in Berlin, baby. I can't wait to get back. Let's work on some shows in Europe together. I'd love to do that.
So,
Um,
tell me about I'll be there.
yeah, "I'll Be There" was written um, about a year and a half ago, and it's consistently changed over time. I think the message of the song also changes over time. Like when you're writing it at first, I was writing it about this person I was with and just showing my true love to them. And then the conversation changed to where this is actually about me and being there for me um, and other people that have entered my life, and just I think that's the beautiful thing about songwriting is like it could change meaning dramatically overnight to what you already had wrote it about. But yeah, this song was one of the ones that were recorded in the cabin. I really want to shout out Jordan Boone, Lucas Delisle, um, Judah Goverman, and Austin Bardowell for really helping bring this to life. And I'm so excited to share it with you all. That is released tomorrow. And then from there, I have a couple shows coming up. We'll be playing the Venice West coming up in March, and then the Hotel Cafe again in March as well. So hopefully people can come out and hear this live.
Busy. What do you hope listeners take from your music, James?
Honestly, just a place of relating, right? Like um I think there's some of my songs are relatable to some people, and hopefully some people get something out of it, whether it's comfort, understanding, um, or just knowing that they're not alone through whatever journey they're going through. Um, I try to write about that, the journeys that I've been through, the journeys my friends and my family members have been through. Um, I've written everything from like in this new record, these new records that I'm releasing soon. There's a lot of different um, songs in here that have different meanings, from love to um, figuring out life to survival guilt. There's a lot of different elements, and I think some people will relate from it. And I just hope they do, and I hope they know that they're not alone.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will relate like we did in Berlin.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, James, where can people listen to your music? Where's the best place to support you and your music in your journey? Um, Tell us.
Yeah, you can listen to it anywhere. Spotify is James Ghareeb. Same with iTunes and all the streaming services. You can find me on, it's spelled James and Ghareeb, G as in George, H as in Harry, A as in Apple, R as in Ready, E as in Echo, E as in Echo, and B as in Boy. And you can find me on Instagram, and TikTok is the real James Ghareeb, and Twitter and all the other lovely places. But yeah, come hang out, support, shoot me a message. Would love to connect with anybody.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you would like to leave us on before we close?
Yeah, I just really want to shout out the So Far Sounds Network. Josh, you yourself, all of you guys are doing incredible work by bringing independent artists, whether they're signed or not, um, in front of people and giving people the space and the opportunity to present their music and their art. And that alone is half the battle for a lot of musicians. So, huge shout out to you guys and to all artists that are trying to get heard. Apply for So Far Sounds. Go out there and show the world what you're made. Be proud of the work that you've made. Um, Again, if you touch one person with any of your art, that's a huge success, and you should always remember that.
What a beautiful way to finish. Thank you so much, James. We've been So Far Stories. We'll be back again next time very soon with another amazing artist. Go check out James Ghareeb on all platforms. He's absolutely incredible. He'll blow you away. Brand new song out now by the time you hear this. And yeah, thanks again. Thanks for your time, James. Keep up the amazing work, and can't wait to see your career flourish.